Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Rebellious D, and you are watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. D, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. Good to see you. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine, man. This is a
Nice.
fabulous night because we are reviewing, and without spoilers, the Tiger and Bunny movies, The Beginning and The Rising. So before we get into today's reviews, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. You ready, D?
Yeah, hey, podcast in the description. Everybody check us out.
That's right. That's right. So the reason why I wanted us to do this review is because if you have seen it, Tiger and Bunny, it is on Netflix. It just got put up there a couple of weeks ago. And maybe you finished the series and you're just like, I want more Tiger and Bunny. I liked it. And I wanted to make a review video for Tiger and Bunny, the two movies that came out. So that way people do know that there are Tiger and Bunny movies out there. The first movie, which was called The Beginning, it came out in March of 2013. And pretty much that movie, all it is it's kind of a recap movie of the first two episodes, and then it includes a new villain in the movie. And also in this movie, it kind of fills some of the gaps. Like it lets you know what Kotetsu was doing before he got called into action to stop the bad guys, the thugs in the first episode. The villain in The Beginning movie, his name is Robin Baxter, and pretty much with his next ability, he's able to teleport with whoever he sees. So like if me and D right now, if I'm looking at D, I could look at him and then I could teleport and then I would be where he's at right now. Yep. And he would be where I'm at right now. That's his ability. It's a pretty unique ability. D, like, what did you think about the first movie? Just the little tidbits that it added to, you know, make you care more about the characters.
I really liked it, especially like in my case, you know, I hadn't seen the series in a little bit, and it kind of gives you their first few missions, and it does a good job introducing you to the heroes.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, really interesting movie. I didn't really want to talk that much about the first movie because, again, all it is really just a recap. They show you a couple of new scenes where, like I said, they fill in the cracks with some of the characters and whatnot. One of the cool moments that I loved about the first movie was there was a scene where it shows all of the heroes suiting up into their costumes. And I thought that it was really sweet because in the original series, you only see Kotetsu and Barnaby suiting up in their costumes, but they took the time to show you what everybody does when they're preparing to get into their costume. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that the villain in the movie, you know, he was just, you know, your typical bad guy, but he was able to outwit the heroes. So really recommend this movie. It's on YouTube. You can rent it for $3.99. And yeah, that's it for the first movie. Now to move on to the second movie, which is The Rising. This movie came out February of 2014. And this movie takes place a couple of months after the series finale for season 1 of Tiger and Bunny. And as you know, Tiger, he's only a minute man now. He can't last 5 minutes anymore. And he is working with the secondary heroes.
Yep.
And now, because he is working with them, Barnaby, like he said at the end of the first season, that he was going to stick with Kotetsu. And the only reason why the secondary heroes are even getting the job done is because of Barnaby, because Barnaby, his powers are unique and incredible. And yeah, I mean, like, D, just like give a little quick recap of like what happens in the second movie, like at the start of it and whatnot.
Essentially, we all know at this point, going into the second movie, that Tiger he's on the decline, and he and Barnaby are basically stationed with the second class heroes. And due to the sponsorship lead man, the team basically gets put into a tough spot, we'll say, without spoiling anything. And then basically they kind of have to come to terms with now being forced apart after they've learned to be a team.
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, it was really interesting seeing the character development for all of the characters in this series, especially in this movie, because now that time has passed by, it's like instead of them working to try and get the points, like where it was like a competition early on, it's like now they all work together. And that's what Kotetsu always wanted from the beginning, is that at the end of the day, we're heroes. Yeah, we work for these companies and we're sponsored by these people and whatnot, but it's like, because we have these next abilities, we need to do what heroes do, and we need to save people. So I love the fact now that they're working together. They're doing a lot of team up missions now. It started with Tiger and Bunny, and then now you have the other heroes teaming up as well. Now, for anybody that's watching this review and they haven't watched Tiger and Bunny, I strongly and highly recommend this series. I watched it last year. A friend had recommended it to me. Like D had already stated, he watched it years prior. But a friend had recommended it to me because I was watching My Hero Academia, and I had finished My Hero Academia, and they had recommended it and was just like, hey, if you like My Hero Academia, you'll like Tiger and Bunny. And I'll admit, like, those first couple of episodes, they were kind of hard to get through. But once you get past, like, I want to say like the first two to four episodes, they're okay episodes, but once you get past those, I feel like that's when the series really starts
picks
to
up.
blossom. It starts to pick up. So just to give a rundown on the characters, you have Wild Tiger, who is Kotetsu. He's the main character of the series, and he is a hero who wants to be a hero to help people. He really doesn't care about the point system. In the city that they stay in, there is a TV show called Hero TV, where the heroes, they get points for capturing bad guys and saving civilians. And Tiger, he doesn't care about the points. He always comes in last place, and it's because he always wants to do the right thing. But by him doing the right thing, he's always damaging stuff in the process. Now, they team him up with Barnaby Brooks Jr. because Barnaby has the same type of powers that Kotetsu has, the 100 power, which pretty much imagine it's Captain America, but he's on the super soldier serum, but it's even pushed further. That's what the 100 power is comparable to. So Tiger and Bunny, they're put together as a team. And then the other heroes you have Blue Rose, where her abilities, she has ice powers.
Yeah, she has ice guns.
Yeah, she has the guns with the ice powers. Then you have Sky High, he can fly. You have Fire Emblem, his name self-explanatory, he can shoot fire. You have Dragon Kid, who can use electricity
abilities and kung fu.
And then you have Rock Bison, who can turn his body into pretty much steel. So it's like he's indestructible. And then you have Origami Cyclone, and pretty much Origami Cyclone can
imitate objects.
Yeah, he can transform into whatever person that he wants to transform into.
Or object.
So he could transform into other people, but he doesn't get their abilities and whatnot. If I could compare him to anybody, he's like Mystique.
That's a good one.
And then you also have in the Rising movie, you have Golden Ryan, who is a new hero that was put in this movie, and his abilities is he can create sound.
He can magnify sound waves.
Yeah.
And basically he's kind of like a gravity field almost is how it works.
Yeah, there we go. It's like a
creating that's basic. It's more like that than sound. He makes a lot of noise, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but Golden Ryan, like, he's a pretty interesting character. If I could compare him to anything, to people who have watched the series, he's kind of like a combination of Tiger and Bunny. Like, if they were merged together, that's who he would be. And he's a pretty interesting character.
He was a great ad.
We can't forget about Lunatic, the anti-hero of the show. It was cool seeing him in the second movie and seeing him, do what he does. He has his own view of what justice is. And I thought that it was interesting having him in the movie and actually like doing something because he was an interesting character in part 1 and part 2 of season 1. So it's always cool. It's always cool when, characters get brought back, and a lot of the characters from part 1 of Tiger and Bunny, they appear, season 1, I mean, they appear in this series. Now, D, I wanted to ask you.
I just want to say,
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say I really appreciate it, and I'm sure there's a lot of our viewers out there that appreciate it when a series creates these cool characters, but they're not just background characters the whole time. They actually use the full cast throughout the whole show.
Yep.
You know, and it's appreciated.
Yep.
What was your question, Banks?
No, I was gonna ask you to talk a little bit about the new villains that are in The Rising. I have their names.
Okay. Go ahead.
So the first person is Richard Max. He's the boxer. Then you have Kasha Graham, who can make duplicates of herself.
Duplicate. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Hey, check out our Invincible reviews. We release them every Friday. And then last member is Johnny Wong.
Johnny Wong. Yep.
Yeah, Johnny Wong.
Who was the leader? Robin. Who's the leader of them?
I don't want to say who the leader is.
Oh, you don't want to?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll leave it ambiguous. I like that. I really like these three. Their abilities were very cool. And once again, it's kind of a scenario without telling the plot. It's a situation where, monsters aren't born. They're created through others' actions. And we'll leave it like that. I love their abilities. So,
yeah.
How did you feel about them? Did you like them?
I thought that they were interesting. I enjoyed that they gave the heroes a run for their money.
Yes, they did.
Like I was saying, like with Richard Max, he had the ability to, if I could compare him to anybody, he was like, what's
kind of like Black Bolt.
Black Bolt. There we go. Yeah, Black Bolt, where he was the one that had the sound.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how they used two characters who kind of had similars, or it came off as similar.
Yeah.
But Golden Ryan, his wasn't really.
It was gravity.
Yeah, it was more like a gravity field, but he did yell, but it wasn't his voice.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then
Asha Graham, she can pretty much make clones of herself.
Yep. Multiply Man.
Yeah, and they can help her in battle and whatnot. And then you have Johnny Wong, and what he does is like he can put people
into a nightmare, right?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Into a nightmare, yeah. And something that I wanted to touch on about that is because of Johnny Wong putting people in nightmares, you get a moment where you get more of an in-depth backstory to Fire Emblem, Nathan Seymour. And you see more about his backstory and who he was growing up and whatnot. And I feel like that, when you see Fire Emblem's backstory, the representation that this character has for, the queer community is awesome, and how they represent it. Like the whole series, when it comes to representation from, it either being race, religion, your sexuality, they do a really good job in this series. And one of the characters, Ben, he is the head of Abaddon, the company that Tiger and Bunny work for, and he's voiced by Bo Billingsley.
Yes,
and we have Bo as a guest on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. So check out that video. It is on YouTube, and it was a really, really, really good interview. And we talked a little bit about Tiger and Bunny on that interview as well. So I would highly recommend checking that out. But all in all, I mean, like both of these movies were good. Also, The Rising, it is on YouTube as well. For $3.99. So I highly recommend watching both of these movies if you're a fan of Tiger and Bunny. There is also another series called Double Decker that came out in 2018, and it's set in the same universe as Tiger and Bunny. I still haven't checked it out yet. But
sounds like we got work to do, Banks.
Yeah, and we got work to do.
We got work to do.
Recommended it. So that's another one. And then also too, Tiger and Bunny is getting a part 2. It's called Tiger and Bunny 2. And it's supposed to be coming out next year in 2022. And there hasn't been an official date on when it's coming out, but it was announced last year in March that they were coming out with a part 2. So I'm looking really forward to this series. It has a good story. It's not your traditional superhero.
No, it is not. Good. I'm glad you jumped on that, because this is a fresh take on what it means to be a hero in this world and time period. So yeah, I would definitely give it a watch, guys.
Yeah. And also too, it's like what I love about this series is that the main characters, they're not teenagers, they're not kids, they're adults. So it's like they go through adult situations and handle the problems that adults go through in life, like Kotetsu. For people who haven't watched the series, and part in season 1, you know, he juggles being a superhero and being a father, and you know, he can't let his daughter know that he's a superhero, because if he does, then that'll, you know, pretty much make her life harder. So I like that they it's not as kiddie, you know what I'm saying, and lighthearted. Like, these are adults that are dealing with real situations. And
it's got a little more severity to their situations, their everyday lives. It's not like your typical Bruce Wayne where he doesn't have anybody, you know what I'm saying? He's got Alfred and he can just do what he wants. Like, some of these characters have to actually think before they act.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, with that being said, check out Tiger and Bunny. Check out both the movies. If you don't feel like checking out the first movie, I understand, but definitely watch The Rising, because it's a really good movie. But still, I would still recommend the first movie, because it just gives you more backstory.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen, like, maybe you're a fan of the show, but you just didn't know they had these movies out, or you just haven't seen them yet, or if you needed a refresher for the show, the first movie is great for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. Because, like you said earlier, for somebody who hasn't watched the series since it wrapped up, it's like it really brings you back up to speed.
Yeah, that was almost 10 years ago. It is 10 years ago, depending on the actual month.
And another thing about the series is that the animation, it still holds up. Like, when I watched this, I thought it was a newer anime, and then when I saw it came out in 2011, I was just like, wow.
Yeah, it was just I guess it was one of those situations where the team, they wanted to do something inventive and try something a little new, you know. This art style kind of reminds me, well, when they suit up, it reminds me kind of like a cleaner reboot.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. Yeah. That's the closest thing. I can't think of anything else that uses that similar art style. But yeah, very fun show, everybody.
Yeah, and you want to know something else that's crazy about us doing this, D?
Yeah.
Tiger and Bunny, it came out originally on April 3rd, 2011, and now it's 10 years later.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
So
that was almost on the money.
Yeah, pretty interesting, too. Like, again, if you haven't watched the series, check it out. It's on Netflix. And also, too, something that's going to be different, because it is on Hulu as well, but I recommend watching it on Netflix, so that way you don't have to sit through the commercials and stuff on Hulu. But
yeah, you get a straight watch.
But on Netflix, on Tiger and Bunny, they have like the company's logos on their superhero suits, whereas on Netflix, they edited them out, because
I was wondering about that. I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah,
I didn't know if there was a difference depending on where you watched it or not.
Yeah, there is. I think it's because I guess Netflix didn't want to pay the companies to, you know, have those logos or something.
And well, one of them is competition, because Amazon is in one of them.
Yeah, Amazon is on one, but see, on Hulu, if you watch it on Hulu, like, the company logos are still on all of the outfits.
Yeah, you want to get the full effect too.
Yeah, so that's the reason why when in the intro, it's like they'll point at their stuff or it'll highlight a certain area.
And I think it just takes away. Yeah, it takes away from the overall perspective of the show, because they do talk heavily about their sponsorships.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You know, that is a running theme. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching this video review. Hope that you learned something about the Tiger and Bunny movies. If you didn't know about them, check them out. And if you have seen them, hop in the comment section. Let's talk about them. Like, what are you looking forward to Tiger and Bunny 2? Like, did you even know that it was coming out? Because I know that there are a lot of people who don't know that there is a part 2 of Tiger and Bunny coming out. So make sure that you hop in the comments and let's talk about it. Make sure that you follow me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me on Facebook by typing in Benjamin Banks, and I should be the first person to pop up. D, I don't know how you at in social media land.
That's going to be rebellious_D23 at Instagram.com.
And make sure that you check out some more of our video reviews that are going to be coming out this week. Tomorrow we have our return video for Black Lightning, which is going to be coming out, and we're looking forward to doing that.
Oh, yes, we are.
We also have a video review for the new Amazon Prime show, Them, that's going to be coming out.
Yes,
and then, of course, You already know on Friday, we got our Invincible review and our Falcon and Winter Soldier video review. And then on Saturday, we have our My Hero Academia Season 5 review. So make sure that you just subscribe to the channel and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. We'll see you next time. Like I always say, keep that pinky up, stay positive. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.